establishing the National Energy Dominance Council. Executive Order, February 14th, 2025. By the authority vested in me as President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Section 1, Policy. America is blessed with an abundance of natural resources and is a leader in emergency energy technology and innovation that are critical to the economic prosperity and national security of the American people, as well as our partners and allies. We must expand all forms of energy. We must expand all forms of reliable, affordable energy production to drive down inflation, grow our economy, create good-paying jobs, reestablish American leadership in manufacturing, lead the world in artificial intelligence, and restore peace through strength by wielding our commercial and diplomatic levers to end wars across the world. By utilizing our amazing national assets, including our crude oil, natural gas, leased condensates, natural gas liquids, refined petroleum products, uranium, coal, biofuels, and geothermal heat, the kinetic movement of flowing water, and critical minerals, we will preserve, protect our most beautiful places, reduce our dependency on foreign imports, and grow our economy, thereby enabling the reduction of our deficits and our debt. It shall be the policy of my administration to make America energy dominant. Section 2, Establishment. There is hereby established within the Executive Office of the President the National Energy Dominance Council. Section 3, Membership. The Secretary of the Interior shall serve as chair of the council. The Secretary of Energy shall serve as vice chair of the council. B. In addition to the chair and vice chair, the council shall consist of the following members. I, the Secretary of State. I, the Secretary of Treasury. I, the Secretary of Defense. B, the Attorney General. V, the Secretary of Agriculture. VI, the Secretary of Commerce. VII, the Secretary of Transportation. VIII, the Administrator of Environmental Protection Agency. IX, the Director of Office of Management and Budgets. X, the United States Representative. XI, the Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. XII, the Assistant to the President for Economic Policy. XIII, the Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs. XIV, the Assistant to the President for Domestic Policy. XVV, the Chairman of the Council on Environmental Quality. XVI, the Chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors. XVII, the Director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy. And XVIII, the heads of such other executive departments and agencies as the President may, from time to time, designate. Section 4, Functions. A. The chair shall convene and preside over meetings of the council in consultation with the office of the Chief of Staff, provided that in his absence the vice chair shall preside. B. The council shall advise the president on how best to exercise his authority to produce more energy to make America energy dominant. II, to advise the president on improving the processes for permitting production, generation, distribution, regulation, transportation, and export of all forms of American energy, including critical minerals. III, provide the president a recommended national energy dominance strategy to produce more energy that includes long-range goals for achieving energy dominance by cutting red tape, enhancing private sector investments across all sectors of the energy-producing economy, focusing on innovation and seeking to eliminate long-standing but unnecessary regulation. IV, advise and assist this president in facilitating cooperation among the federal government and domestic private sector energy partners. And V, advise the president on facilitating consistency in energy production policies, including the strategy developed under subsection BII of this section. C. In performing the advisory functions listed under subsection B of this section, the council, through the chair, shall, when appropriate, coordinate with the assistant to the president for economic policy, the assistant to the president for domestic policy, and the assistant to the president for national security affairs. Functions of the council shall report to the office of the chief of staff. D, within 100 days of the date of this order and from time to time thereafter, as deemed appropriate by the chair, the council shall I recommend to the president a plan to raise awareness on a national level of matters related to energy dominance, such as the urgency of reliable energy, the improvements in technology achieved through reliable energy sources, the national security concerns with removing reliable and affordable energy sources, the jobs supported by the energy sector, and the regulatory constraints driving the cost of reliable energy to consumers. I advise the president regarding the actions each agency can take under existing authorities to prioritize the policy objective of increasing energy production, such as rapidly and significantly increasing electricity capacity, rapidly facilitating approvals for energy infrastructure, reproving the constitution of natural gas pipelines to or in New England, California, Alaska, and other areas of the country underserved by American natural gas, facilitating the reopening of closed power plants, and bringing small modular nuclear reactors online. I provide the president a review of markets most critical to power, American homes, cars, and factories with reliable, abundant, and affordable energy. IV. Advise the president regarding incentives to attract and retain private sector energy production investments. V. Advise the president on identifying and ending practices that raise the cost of energy. And VI. Consult with officials from state, local, and tribal governments and individuals from private sector to solicit feedback on how best to expand all forms of energy production. Section 5. Administration. A. The council shall have such staff and other assistants as may be necessary to carry out its functions. B. Agencies shall cooperate with the council and provide such assistance, information, and advice to the council related to policies that affect energy dominance as the chair at the chair's direction, the vice chair shall reasonably request to the extent permitted by law. Section 6. Representation on the National Security Council. The Secretary of the Interior, as chair of the council, shall serve as the standing member of the National Security Council. Section 7. General provisions. A. Nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect the authority granted by law to an executive department or agency or the head thereof, or the functions of the director of the Office of Management and Budget relating to budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. B. This order shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriations. C. This order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity, by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. The White House, February 14th, 2025. I don't understand the current administration, or basically anybody's, dislike of solar energy and wind energy. They provide energy. Are we against electricity? Are they afraid that it's going to replace all the other energy forms completely? And if they are, what would be wrong with that? Who cares where our energy comes from, as long as it is consistent and does its job? And if most renewable energy is cheaper at this point, I would think people would want the thing that was cheaper. But yeah, I don't get it. And also, oil. If we eventually, and everybody's admitted this, both sides of this argument agree to this, eventually we're going to run out of oil. You know what would make it go slower? Is if we used more renewable energy. If we used more of the thing that is infinitely replaceable instead of the thing that is a finite amount, finite being it will eventually run out, infinite meaning it's there's no end to how much of it we can use. Why wouldn't we use the infinite one? Why would we try to use the non-infinite one? Why would we try to use the finite one until it was just all gone? Because oil is in everything. You'd think we would want to stop using it in energy so we could use it in those other things that we make, like, plastic, asphalt, clothing, anything that we use oil in. Limits. We don't have replacements for plastic. There's very few replacements for plastic. You have to use plastic in a lot of the things we use because there's just no replacement that works as well. But there is replacement in energy production. You can use the sun, and you can use solar, and you can use hydroelectric, you can use nuclear. I also don't understand our opposition to nuclear. I get that occasionally a nuclear site goes critical and becomes radioactive, but occasionally coal power plants explode. Occasionally methane, natural gas burners explode or catch fire. Fires are just as bad as radiation. We know how to deal with both of them. It's not quite as bad. Radiation does last longer, but the radiation one doesn't happen as often. Okay, that's my 2 cents on the nuclear energy one. I mean, on the renewable energy one. I don't get why we're afraid to use it. What, is it just because it's something different and people don't like change? That's dumb. If that's it, that's dumb. If that's the reason we don't want to use it, that's stupid. It's also, what is why do we need to use coal? I guess, okay, here's me being back. We also don't want to do it because we don't want to switch over completely because it takes away jobs from people who work in coal. But the places that have coal could also build solar panels. So you could, instead of working in a dangerous coal mine, you could work in a safe construction company building wind energy or solar energy. Because you know where there's lots of wind? The tops of mountains. You know where coal comes from? Mountains. So I don't get it. I don't understand our need to stay with what we have. And also, I can't wait until we have nuclear fusion, which is always 30 years away, so we'll probably never see it in my lifetime. But at some point, we'll have nuclear fusion, and then we just won't have this problem because it'll be so cheap that nobody will be able to stop us from using it.